Welcome back to the Magnolia Shine podcast. I'm your host, Trellis Williams, alongside the one and only Blake Levine. We really appreciate you joining us. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button right now. We're building up the following here. This is becoming a staple of Mississippi sports in general, but especially high school sports. We're talking about that here today. Blake, what you thinking, man?
Yeah, I mean, look, some shifts in some of these districts, some stuff that we said could
Yeah.
happen, did happen, and that's how we like it to happen. And now we get to really learn about some of these teams and what they're like outside of their district because, there's going to be some fours that beat ones and there's going to be threes that beat twos. And you're like, wow, that district might have just been really good.
No, 100%. So we saw the last games of the season for 5A through 7A, and then 1A through 4A. We see playoff games getting started. So we got a lot to talk about here today. But first, I want to go ahead and remind you our buddy, Austin Graham, insurance guy, whether it's home, whether it's auto, whether it's life. You should definitely hit up Austin Graham. He supports our podcast. If you like our podcast, then you got to like Austin Graham, and he'll get you right on your insurance needs. And so we appreciate Austin Graham for sponsoring the Magnolia Shine podcast. And so look, folks,
Absolutely.
yep. So we really appreciate him. So we're gonna go into these matchups that we had last week. So this is the end of the regular season, Blake, and we're gonna go ahead and mark this down. What our records are for the regular season. You won the regular season, Blake, but I won this week. I won this week.
Oh, good, good,
I
good,
won this
good.
week. Now, we got Starkville and Oxford, okay? And that's our first one here. So we both picked Oxford to win this game. Oxford wins the ball game 27-21, but it was in narrow fashion. It was a narrow win. Starkville was in it the entire time. They call this the Little Egg Bowl because it's Starkville and Oxford, but Oxford gets the win 27-21. The Chargers beat the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, it seems apparent that Knox Kiffin's going to be the starting quarterback moving forward for Oxford. Their offense is really good. Their defense is exceptional. And I think it's really funny though, because Starkville loses this game by a score to the number one seed in their district, a game that they feel like they maybe could have, should have won. And now poor Tupelo, their first round matchup is Starkville. I mean, just think about that for a moment. And
I know it.
look, obviously, I think you and I both think that Tupelo is the best team in 7A. However, having to play Starkville in round one, that's a scary team. That's the scariest four seed. And you know what happened the last time Starkville was a four seed?
They won the championship.
They won the championship. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah. If you're Tupelo, now obviously if you're Tupelo, you believe, and you know that you can beat anybody. Okay, just get that out of the way. But man, what a tough draw! What a tough draw for first round of Starkville. Because like out of that region, if I'm Tupelo, I don't want to play Oxford. I don't want to play Germantown either, if we're being honest. But I also don't want to play Starkville. I'd probably rather face Madison Central than Starkville if I'm Tupelo. Even though Madison Central's playing well as of the last few weeks.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a fair thing to say. But at the same time, Tupelo hasn't played any one of those four teams' quality since they were out of district.
That's
Because
right. That's right. It's been a while.
I guess I'm going to get crushed for this. I'm going to get crushed for it. I don't think any other team in the Tupelo's district will win their playoff game, right? So I'm saying that I think that
Yeah.
the district's obviously harder in the Oxford, Madison, Clayton,
Yeah.
Germantown
Oh yeah.
district that Starkville's playing.
That's right, and that's tough for Tupelo because they won all their games until they faced West Point. They lost that game narrowly, and then they were in region play ever since then. So you wonder,
Yeah,
but
and
Tupelo obviously is
none
a
of
very
those
good
games
team.
were close. And right, none of those
Yeah,
games were all that close.
yeah, for sure. So moving on to the next game, we got Holmes County Central and Florence. So listen, so Blake, I gotta say, man, when I said this was a Trellis style pick, it really was, man, because it went 40 plus points the other direction. So you picked Florence, I picked Holmes. I picked Holmes County Central. It's 56-14. But listen, Holmes County, they brought it. They absolutely brought it.
Brought it. That's their A game. That's their A game right there.
I mean, it's got to be because Florence is a very competitive team. I didn't expect that to happen. I picked Holmes County, but I didn't expect it to be a blowout like that at Florence. 56-14. and Holmes County Central's in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Hey, that was my one. That was my one Trellis pick of the week. Although you did have a Trellis pick with the Mississippi State one, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
well,
thought Florence is gonna be playing for their playoff lives, and they'd come out. Okay, we're amped. We gotta win this game, not just like play good. We gotta win this game, and I thought they'd come out and compete really hard with Holmes already solidified in the playoffs, and yet Holmes County brought their A game, and poor Florence. It didn't matter if they had their A game. Not that they played it, but it wouldn't have mattered because Holmes brought theirs.
yep. And then we had this one, Northwest Rankin and Petal. Now I gotta
Wow.
say, man, I'm impressed with Northwest Rankin. I mean, they went on the road. They knew that if they won this game, they're in the playoffs. Now it turns out that even if they would have lost, they would have been in the playoffs. But the thing is that how different does it feel to go win a game against Petal on the road? Now Petal is not the number 1 seed anymore; they're the number 2 seed. Oak Grove gets the number
Yeah.
1 seed, but now you just beat a team that's in the upper echelon of 7A. And you know that you can beat them on the road. That's got to be a big confidence builder for the Cougars.
I don't know. You hate going on the computer. What was the score of the Northwest Rankin Oak Grove game? Do you remember?
Northwest Rankin and Oak Grove.
Yeah,
Let me
Could
just
you
look
look
real
that?
quick.
Yeah, look that up for me. But let me say something. Northwest Rankin, they lose to Brandon 3-0, which tells me, okay, well, that's a little bit of a funky game. They could have won that game. Then they beat Petal, and like I'm sitting there, okay, well, the number 2 and 3 team in their district, they're playing right there and then beating the number 2 team
Yep.
in their district. You got that score?
No, not quite yet.
Yeah, because I kind of want to know how close they were with Oak Grove because I'm thinking to
Oh,
myself, man, if they went
37-34. I remember it was a field goal. And it
okay,
was a
okay,
game-winning field goal for Oak Grove.
okay. So between those 3 games, they beat Petal and then they lose to Brandon and Oak Grove each by 3 points. What do you think they're sitting here thinking to themselves right now? Well,
Oh,
why can't we beat anyone in the South? Why can't we beat anyone in the South?
I mean, you don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, listen, and they will now. They'll be
But
having
the
to play
problem is they
Gulfport.
they gotta go play. But why can't they win that game? But why can't they win that game?
Well, it's not that they can't. It's not that they can't. It's just that
They'll be an
it's been
underdog.
tough for
They'll be an
anybody to
underdog
beat
when they can
Gulfport.
win that. Sure, but they're an underdog. I mean, I pick Gulfport, but I'm just saying, like Northwest Rankin could play with anybody.
They can. I totally agree with that. So Northwest Rankin looking good after that win over Petal. But Blake, let's turn our attention to Petal. What does that say about Petal? Because the thing about
Darn.
because the thing is about them is that we've seen that they have the ability to win. They do have the ability to win. They're the 2 seed in their region, so they did fine. But they have a loss to Pearl now and a loss to Northwest Rankin. And so
as good as Columbia is in 4A.
oh, they got
still-
smoked
they
by
still-
Columbia.
Okay, so they got smoked by a 4A team, albeit Columbia very good. Now, I think they're one of the best teams in the state. They lose to a team that's 3 classes below them. They lose to Pearl, who's not in the playoffs, and Northwest Rankin, who's the last team in their district in the playoffs. Their losses are ugly.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not right.
Yeah. So that is definitely
paper says paper. When we look at the piece of paper, the paper is not generous to Petal right now.
It's not. Now they're going to play D'Iberville in the first round,
they'll win.
and yeah, I do think so. But then after that, we'll have to see where it goes from there. They'd probably find themselves playing Gulfport or Northwest Rankin if they win. So listen, 7A playoffs, it doesn't sleep. 7A playoffs doesn't sleep. So
yeah, I mean, look, I was
be
talking
looking
with
at
the coach, and I won't tell you which head coach it was in the South 7A, but I'll tell you it was a South 7A coach, and he and I said that there were 6 teams that could win the South in 7A. 6.
That's
Gulfport, Ocean Springs, and the 4 teams on the other side.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, and you include Northwest Rankin in there.
Talk about poor. Yeah, I hate to talk about poor Biloxi and D'Iberville there, but it's going to be tough for both those teams to win 3 straight games, especially on the road throughout the whole playoffs. I mean, that's going to be tough for them. At least with Northwest Rankin and Brandon, like there's some like history and vibes that I've seen recently with those two.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Blake, I would give. I know this is my pick at the beginning of the season, but I did not see Brandon's season playing out like this. They don't even have their coach from the beginning of the season. So the thing is that I could totally see Northwest Rankin pulling that off before I could see Brandon pulling it off. I don't see Brandon pulling it off. I don't see them stacking wins like that. They listen. They might even knock off Ocean Springs. I would have Ocean Springs, but they could pull that off. But I can't see them winning 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't see that.
Yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah. So now we're looking at Clinton and Madison Central, and Madison Central beats them 28-16. We both had Madison Central winning that ball game. Madison Central leaps up into the 3 seed. The
Yeah.
Jaguars did a great job here at the end of the season, Blake, because they had 2 games left, and they knew that if they won them both, there's a possibility that they could find themselves in that 3 seed, and they went ahead and got the job done. And they're the 3 seed, which means they avoid Tupelo, which is huge. It's huge.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so. I think, now it's like, wow, okay, well, do they have a path to win a couple playoff games? And for them, I mean, really impressive to pull it back. I thought after that Brookhaven loss, that might have been like just the start, and then they lost to Brookhaven, they lose to Germany. It just felt like they just weren't finding wins anywhere. It was like every week I was looking up and they were losing until it was time to really bear down. And now I look up at 2 straight wins against two opponents that I find quality, especially in Starkville, and now they beat Clinton. So I again, a lot of 7A is just so interesting. You
Yeah.
can, you can name every team scary for the most part. I wouldn't say Madison's scary for like a title contender by any means, but I wouldn't want to play them. Like Starkville, I could see a path of them upsetting Tupelo and going on a crazy run. Yes, I could visualize that. I don't think it's going to happen. Madison, I don't think I could visualize 3 straight wins still with them. However, they could upset somebody.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So we got Vicksburg and Lanier. We both picked Lanier to win this game, and Lanier handles it, 31-8. The Bulldogs are now the 2 seed in their region. They'll be hosting a playoff game, which is big. They're going to be playing Pontotoc in the first round. The Bulldogs will be. And hey, look, a 10-win season for Lanier.
About to be 11.
I believe so. I believe so. But that is just got to take a step back and be like, man, how about that? And they just went up a classification as well. They were 4A last year. I mean, so just impressive stuff they're doing over there.
Yeah, I
Now,
mean, they're probably still feeling about that Cleveland Central game because, now they are 2 rounds away from, their West Point destiny. So,
yeah,
tough to. Oh, actually, sorry, 1 round away from their West Point
that's right.
destiny,
That's right.
right? Right, yeah, 1 round away from their West Point destiny. That'll be fun. I mean, they'll get to go to the graveyard and go play that game. I think they'll beat Pontotoc and then go play West Point, and then that'll be a good lesson to see, gauge of where they are. Could they play it close? Can they play it within 10? Are they 20 points away? What are they? But still, Lanier, just a great season for them. I mean, I couldn't be more proud of the fact that Hughes Field is going to be hosting a playoff game in Middle Jackson. I mean, you got to love it.
Yeah, so that was Lanier and Vicksburg, a 31-8 win for the Bulldogs. And then you have Hattiesburg and Terry. And listen, this was the one that I got wrong. And of course, I was broadcasting that game from Bulldog Field in Terry, Mississippi. Hattiesburg wins 48-21 over Terry. And I got to say, Blake, I was impressed with Hattiesburg. I was pretty impressed with Hattiesburg. This is not one of those games where I come away from it and being like, man, Terry, they weren't playing well. And obviously, they weren't playing that well. I mean, they were getting beat. But at the same time, Hattiesburg just looked good. And they were big, and they were quick, and they were strong, and they were together. And the Tigers look real. Man, listen, Blake, the Tigers are the real deal. Like, they're a
Yeah.
serious 6A contender. And I don't know what happened that they turned things around, but I guess it's just probably they played some tough competition. They lost to Petal and Oak Grove. Those are their two losses. But I mean, they started off 1-2, and they finished off the season 8-2, 7 straight wins. This is a hot team, Blake.
Yeah. I mean, they're the favorites in the South, right? After Pearl River beats Picayune.
Oh man, I don't even know. Okay, so we could talk about that because that was not even on our list because I didn't even consider that game. But I will.
I wouldn't have considered it either. I wouldn't have considered it either. But yeah.
Now, I will say, Blake, I was going to ask you.
Let's talk about them. Let's talk about them in conjunction here.
Okay.
Hattiesburg is now the favorite in the South, right?
I would say that Hattiesburg. Yeah, I would say that Hattiesburg's the favorite. I would still probably say.
Yeah, but it's a lot of this. Look, think about this. We'll talk more about later in the week too. But
yeah,
Terry's matchup with Pascagoula. I'm taking Pascagoula. I mean, I'm just telling that there is. I mean, this is going to be fun. 6A South's going to be fun.
Listen, Pascagoula, as a guy that's with the Terry team, I mean, listen, a big part of that Hattiesburg game was, hey, could you somehow get the matchup to be a home game and not against Pascagoula again? Because Terry and Pascagoula was last year. Now we're going to see it again. Not going to reveal. I'm going to pick later in the week, of course. Got Terry and Pascagoula, but the Panthers have looked really good. They've looked really, really good. So and they're kind of trending in the same direction as Hattiesburg. Like they're winning.
Yeah.
Like they're just winning.
They're winning a lot.
So we'll see about that. But as far as Hattiesburg looking very good. They didn't have Tristan Keys didn't play in the game. Like, and so that was interesting to me because we saw Tennessee's head coach Coach Heupel there.
Yeah.
And Tristan Keys did not play. But I gotta say, Blake, I can't imagine that if he would have played that it would have been any better for them. They scored 48 points. They scored most possessions they had. And listen, Davion Young, their other receiver, oh man, he was good.
And I hear I haven't seen him yet this year, but I hear their quarterback's legit.
Yeah, Gavin Ducksworth, he did a great job. And so, listen, Hattiesburg was very impressive. They smacked Terry in the mouth. Terry didn't respond really till the third quarter. There was a split second there. It was 34-0 Hattiesburg. It was 34-21 with 5 minutes left in the third. And it was like, man, what's happening here? But then, of course, then it's ball game. Two straight scores is ball game. So, but anyway, Hattiesburg gets the win. The Tigers look very good, and congratulations to Coach Lacey taking over 1 year and keeping them on the same track even though they lost all those guys.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, and he hasn't even had his best player all year for the most part. I mean, he's had
not
it
really.
Times, but not.
Oh, man, they don't.
Yeah, but not really.
Listen, I know Tristan Keys is a great player, but, man, they don't even need him to win a championship, man. I'm just going to be straight up. I was watching that team. That was a state championship level team, in my opinion. They could do it. I don't know if they will, but they could do it. Now,
but you're always better if you have a 5-star on your field than if you don't.
Oh, for sure. They want them there for sure. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt anything. But anyway. Yep, so we got Pearl and Oak Grove. And okay, so Pearl had this outside chance of making the playoffs if they won this game and if Northwest Rankin would have lost the game. But it just went the opposite way, completely opposite way. Northwest Rankin won, and then they get beat down by Oak Grove. 28-7, and the Warriors go ahead and end Pearl's season. And Oak Grove, but this was a game that Oak Grove needed as well. Okay, Grove,
right, exactly,
because Oak Grove took the 1 seed with this win, and so congratulations to the Oak Grove Warriors. You know, they take the 1 seed, and you lost to Petal early in this. You lost to Petal, but who cares?
Lost to Germantown and Starkville early in the year, where their defense just couldn't stop anyone, now their defense can stop people.
Yeah, I mean, look, credit to Coach Causey. I mean, that's coaching. You got to get your team right, and they've gotten their team right. They look good. They look like a serious contender to me. So that is Oak Grove and Pearl. They get the win, and then we had Tupelo and DeSoto Central. Tupelo handles them 42-19. But Blake, I wanted to go back to a previous topic before we move on to the next one. And I think we actually might end up kind of discussing this just a little bit. But so we talk about Picayune and Pearl River Central. I was going to ask you this, Blake. Do you know if Picayune was purposefully resting guys? Because Picayune did not need
I
that game
don't.
at all. They didn't need the
I,
game
I,
at
I,
all.
I don't, but I don't, but I have a hard time believing that they weren't playing hard. Let me go with that.
Of course. I don't think that they put guys out there and they weren't that weren't trying to do well. I'm just saying. I don't know if they pulled some guys or whatever and just didn't play them. The
Yeah,
reason why I
no, but
say
yeah,
that,
drop it. Yeah,
yeah,
drop it in the comment section. Let us know because like I said, I wasn't able to catch the game. I just see the score and I go, what in the world? Like Pearl River won? Like wow, okay, like that's interesting. Like let me go check more into this. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm not taking anything away from Pearl River. They needed to win the game. They won the game and they're in the playoffs and good for them.
yep, yep. So, but all right, folks. So look, next topic for us here today, we're going to do a little bit of a recap of round one. As far because we had first round playoffs. What we just talked about were some 5A, 6A, 7A games from last week, but we had first round of the playoffs for 1A through 4A. So Blake, I have everything here, but what were some highlights for you? What were some highlights for you from round one?
Okay, so 4A, I didn't feel like there was much that kind of happened that was kind of out of the ordinary, right? I don't know if you saw anything in 4A that was kind of unique. I thought that was pretty
It's
close to chalk for the most part.
yeah,
Right, when looking at that, it was pretty close to the chalk. I will
that's
say
right.
Union JDC. A lot of people thought Jefferson Davis was going to beat Union, which funny enough, Jefferson Davis County playing Union. I don't know if anyone else finds that name ironic. The Union versus Jefferson Davis County. I just find that fascinating, and not one person on the internet said one thing about that. And I was like, really? Like I find that kind of a fun school
It's
name
like
battle.
it's,
You a lot of people pick. Yeah, a lot of people picked the Jags, Jefferson Davis County, to win that game. Yeah, here was Union, and their undefeated season rolls on. And yes, it was a hard fought game. Clarkdale in 2A beating Scott Central with 30 seconds to go, like a Hail Mary almost type of throw where he just lobbed it up there and guy caught it in the end zone. And I always pronounce this wrong. Okolona?
I would say Oklahoma. Yeah.
Okay, I drop me in the comment section if I'm wrong.
Again, yeah.
Oklahoma. Well, they beat West Tally, and I thought West Tally was one of the 5 best 1A schools, 6 best 1A schools. That felt like an upset, especially because they were on the road. I believe they
Yeah,
were on the
yeah.
road for that one. Maybe yeah,
They
yeah, they
were
were on the
they
road
were
for
on the
that one.
road.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so thinking about some of those, I mean, some of those were kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, look, sometimes in those smaller levels, the 1 through 4A, it's a lot of chalk the first round.
That's right.
Lumberton wasn't playing a game
Yeah.
at 9 a.m. against Salem, and then at 10 a.m. they were playing a game against Salem, and then they went and whooped them. Salem, great season. Glad you got to play the game, and I'm glad that they played the game so that there's no argument anymore. Just Lumberton went and
That's
won, and
right.
there wasn't going to be any battle where like Lumberton's sitting after this game, like, are we playing next week because of a fourth? Like, what are we doing here? So really, so for them, good for Lumberton too.
So and just to explain to our viewers who might not be aware of the story, so what we're talking about with the Salem and Lumberton game. So Salem, of course, came off a season last year. I think they had lost for 4 seasons in a row.
40,
Like had
yeah, 49 straight or something like that.
49 straight losses going into the season. They end up starting off this season 3-0. They have a good solid season where I do believe they go 6-4 on the year. And
They
then
were the second team in their district, and they were hosting the playoff game.
and they were hosting the playoff game, but then there was an MHSAA ruling that they had a 5th-year senior on their squad and they were ineligible for the playoffs. Salem appeals, and they were able to play the game with the court hearing coming on Wednesday. Is that correct? Am I correct on my facts here?
Yes.
And then,
Yeah. Yeah.
so they decide, okay, they're going to let them play the game, and so now we have this
Well,
thing
it
where it's
wasn't.
like,
It wasn't.
okay,
By the way, it wasn't okay. We're going to let them play the game. They got a temporary restraining order, and the judge ordered the game to be played.
okay, so the judge yes, the judge ordered the game to be played, so the game had to be played, and so now You got Salem and Lumberton going out there to play, and you don't know if Salem, even if Salem wins this game, are they just going to get taken right back out of the playoffs again? We don't know.
Has Lumberton even practiced? Like, what have they been doing all week? They thought this game was over.
I mean, seriously, but then Lumberton goes out and beats them 60-18, and I know Salem fans don't like it, but I gotta say, I think this is the best way that it could have possibly gone, because now we can move forward in the playoffs, and we know Lumberton beat Salem, and Lumberton earned their way into the second round, and it just seems like everything kind of worked out.
How about Heidelberg being up 70-0 at Newton County?
Oh my goodness, man! Heidelberg, we know how good they are in comparison to their classification, but they just were showing off a little bit. Just being like, hey, look, we don't have
Yeah,
time.
but it's a running clock. It's a running clock. They have their backups in, and it's a running clock. If they keep scoring, it is what it is.
Oh no, it is what it is. I think it's great. I'm in support of running up the score if you can, if you got the guys. You know what I mean? And
if you have the backups, if you have the backups that are good enough, go ahead and put some points up.
Oh yeah, you don't put your backups in and then tell them not to do well. That's not what you do.
Right.
That's the wrong thing to do. But anyway, so those are some takeaways that we had from 1A through 4A first round. Obviously, they've got a bigger playoff field. That's why they start a week. That's why they start a week earlier than the 5A through 7A.
Can I give a Blake's take rant right now?
Yes, definitely.
All right, no more 0-10, 0-11 teams in playoffs. If you do not win a game in the regular season, it is a bye. It is a bye for that one seed of the other district. Okay, that's it. Because it's ridiculous that we have teams. Yeah. It's ridiculous that we have teams that are 0-10 playing a playoff game against a 1 seed. What do you think is going to happen in that game, right? It's an automatic win. It's so easy for that other team. So if you're 0-10, you do not win one game in the regular season, you slot into that playoff bracket, but it is a forfeit. And that team gets to move on, and they get a bye.
Yeah. So that was something that because I wasn't as familiar with how they do it, and so how in the world could
there's some districts with only 4. There's some districts with only 4 teams in 1A, so they get an automatic bid for everybody.
Okay, so okay, got it. Yeah, that just doesn't seem right. Just doesn't.
I'm doing a video on that today. That's one of my topics. I'm pissed off.
Yeah, hey, so look, that means y'all need to follow the Facebook page. Y'all need to follow the Facebook page because we got all this content coming. Same thing with we were talking about that Salem news. That news was broken on the Magnolia Shine podcast Facebook. And so listen, this guy right here, Blake, he knows what's going on and he can share this knowledge with you. But if you don't follow the Facebook page, I don't know how to help you. We'll talk about it on the podcast, and so you can subscribe. And please do that as well. But you got to follow the Facebook page as well. All right, folks. So we are going to go ahead and move into 5A, 6A, and 7A broad predictions. We went through 1A through 4A last week, and we gave our championship game predictions and then the champion. And so we'll see how me and Blake align here, if we do align at all. I think we will in some ways on the 5A, though. So, Blake, I'm going to go ahead and give my 5A. All right? So, out of the North, I think West...
I think we're going to agree here.
Yeah. Agree here. We will agree on the champion and on the North, and that's West Point. And I got them as the champion. Okay. West Point out of the North. Listen, shocker out of the South. I think Laurel is going to get to the championship game. Blake, they are hot.
You know that happened a few years back here. Like I think it was 2 years ago. Laurel was like 1-5 to start the season, and then they won the South and played West Point, and then lost by 40. But they made it, and they played in Oxford against them.
That sounds like we're going to see a similar situation because that's about what I'm predicting. I don't think they're going to be able to give anything to West Point, but because here's the thing, I think West Point's toughest competition in 5A is in the North. I just don't think it's in the South. And so I think that once they get to that championship game, I think they'll win it by a good bit. But I'm thinking West Point and Laurel, and I think West Point wins.
Yeah, I got West Point and Brookhaven. That was kind of like what I
Yeah.
was having early in the year. That's kind of what I always kind of felt was a really good matchup, and I felt like Brookhaven's kind of riding the ship. I have West Point beating Brookhaven in the state championship.
That's right. And look, Brookhaven and Laurel played. It was 14-6 Brookhaven. But the thing is, if they play again, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what would happen if they played again. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But, so, all right, you have West Point and Brookhaven. I got West Point and Laurel. We both have West Point as the champion. 6A. Okay? Listen, I have the same thing. I have the same one as I did at the beginning of the season before the season. I got Warren Central out of the north, and I got Picayune out of the south. Okay?
Good
But
pick. It's a good pick. It's a good pick.
I've changed my champion to Warren Central.
Oh,
I did have
okay.
Picayune. I now have Warren Central. I think Warren Central is the team in 6A. I mean, they're
Right.
so good that they've gone quiet. We don't even talk about them anymore because they're so dominant in their region.
Yeah,
And I know that their
that's true.
region's probably not one of the strongest ones in 6A. You know, they got Ridgeland, which is a good competition. Other than that, they kind of rule in school. But I got Warren Central and Picayune, and I got Warren Central as the champion.
I have a repeat of last year. I got Grenada and Hattiesburg, but Hattiesburg wins it this time. I think
Okay.
Grenada, the next time that they get to play some of those teams in their district, because again, if we're just going to pretend that Grenada didn't lose on a kickoff return, game was tied
Yeah.
in late in the fourth quarter against South Panola, who won their district, then you're crazy to act like, oh, Grenada didn't have a shot that game. If they got
Yeah.
kickoff coverage, who's to say they're not winning in overtime, and then the Vibes roll in to beat LC and the Gators next week, right? So I have Grenada winning the North, and I have Hattiesburg winning the South, and I have Hattiesburg actually winning it this time. And that would be really fun.
Blake, I watched that Hattiesburg team, and I was more and more tempted to go that way. Okay, because
Yeah.
this is what I had. Warren Central Picayune is what I had before that game that I saw, and I kept it this way. But man, oh man, they look good. They look good, and to me, they look better than last year.
Yeah, that's
Even though,
interesting. That's
yeah, it
tough
is
to say.
interesting. When I saw them last year and I saw them this year, last year they almost lost to Terry. This year they were doing real well, and I think Terry's a better team this year. So I like that Hattiesburg team. So now 7A, Blake, what you got?
Yeah, I got Tupelo and I got Ocean Springs. So if Ocean Springs winning the South, I think the next time they meet up with Gulfport, if they do, they win that game. I think Ocean Springs beats Brandon in the first round. I really like this Ocean Springs team. I think that then they play Tupelo, and then Tupelo wins it all, and they win back to back. And then the argument is Tupelo, could they three-peat? And man, you guys should see their roster for next year. It's pretty dang good, and it's good again. So I have Tupelo winning back to back over Ocean Springs.
Okay, all right. So Tupelo Ocean Springs, that's similar to what you had very early in the season. Blake, I'm going to shock you. I think Oxford comes out of the North. I think it's Oxford and Tupelo
It's a,
for. The,
yeah, it's a
I
fair
think
pick. It's a fair pick.
Yeah, I think it's Oxford and Tupelo for the North State Championship. I think they play again. I think the second time Oxford wins. And then I think, but of course, okay, Blake, do you know, I know that I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm just asking if you know this. Do you know who would host if they, if it's Tupelo and Oxford?
I don't. I got it. I got to go see if it's even or odd. Which region
But
number, if it's even or odd this year.
my pick is still solid though. I'm picking Oxford out of the North. Then out of the South, I've got Gulfport. So I got
That would be fun.
Oxford and Gulfport for the championship game, and I'm going with Gulfport. I got the Coast taking the championship with Gulfport with the Admirals getting the 7A state championship. How about that, Blake?
Hey, someone drop it in the comments. I'm always about the comments. When's the last time a coast team won the highest level? I mean, that's got to be a long time.
Yeah. Well, look, I think it's happening this year. Oxford and Gulfport, where Gulfport is the champion. But we'll have to see. We're going to go round by round, folks. And this week, hey, look, folks, we're about to get into some college football. But I'll tell you this, though. This week, we got 3 shows. You're getting even more. Usually we go Mondays and Thursdays. We're going to definitely do Monday and Thursday, but we're also going to be here tomorrow, Tuesday, and we're going to be going into playoff football. I mean, it's just we got a lot to talk about. We don't have enough time to do that 2 days. We got to go 3 days. All right. So definitely tune in tomorrow as well and hit that subscribe button. So going into college football, okay, the headline story of the week. I would actually say, Blake, I would argue, and maybe you would accuse me of ducking smoke here, but I think the headline of the week is USM. I think Southern
100%.
Miss.
100%.
I think Southern.
100%. I agree. I agree with you.
I think Southern Miss defeating Arkansas State on the road and a good Arkansas State team in the Sun Belt, and now Southern Miss.
Six turnovers. 6 turnovers created.
You'd almost say that Southern Miss is the favorite now to win the Sun Belt.
Maybe James Madison. I think, James Madison probably has their case. However, Southern Miss to the conference championship, yeah, I mean, it's real. It's there. And, there's an outside chance they could make the college football playoff. I know people don't want to, people call me stupid and want to say that I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I do. Because I'm not saying that they're the favorite to make the college football playoff. I think people get that confused. No, I'm not saying they're the favorite. The most likely favorite is the team that wins the American Conference. I got it. However, if those teams beat each other up and, Tulane loses again, Memphis's resume is not as good. I mean, the UAB loss is horrendous. And so I think there's a path, and I put it at about 5-7% that Southern Miss could make the college football playoff. I mean, they got to win out. They got to beat JMU in the conference championship, and they got to look good doing it. But, man, oh, man, Southern Miss, the vibes are perfect.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I kind of wonder, Blake, whose idea was it to get a group of 5 champion automatically into the playoff? Because that seems a little tough. Because here's the thing. Southern Miss is doing great, and I think they deserve all the credit in the world because I think you would agree with me, Blake, that when a team's playing at a certain level, they're in a certain conference, what you're responsible to do is to do well within your level in your conference. You know what I mean? But I was at the Southern Miss Mississippi State game. I mean, we're out here dogging on Mississippi State every week, but Mississippi State handled Southern Miss, you know what I mean? And now they're talked about as college football playoff contention is just kind of interesting to me.
Look, I'm all for it, but Ole Miss beat Tulane, who's probably the favorite to get that spot now by how much? 40, 30, 40 points?
Yeah.
Right? So, there you go. That's what Tulane, the top mid-major arguably now, went and played Ole Miss, who, might be the 5 seed, Tulane would play in the first round, and Ole Miss beat them by 30, 40 points. So, it is what it is, but it's fun for the mid-major. I'm glad they got rid of the bye for the mid-major, possibly, because Boise State should not have had a bye last year. And I'm glad that now that the mid-major just gets the 12 seed and they play in the first round.
Yeah, and that sounds about right. But yeah, it's just football's not quite basketball. Football's just not quite basketball. Yeah. Basketball is just anything. Anything can just occur at any time. But anyway, that's a topic for another day. Now we're going to talk about the topic that I just didn't really want to discuss today, but we're going to talk about it anyways, Mississippi State and Georgia. And, that was tough. 41-21 loss for Mississippi State against Georgia. And the thing is that now that we saw for the first time something that's a little bit less encouraging to me. Because watching them compete hard to the end and take tough losses is tough, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, look, I see it. It's good and everything. But today I just don't feel as good about it because he just got dominated by Georgia, And so I don't know. Kamario Taylor's showing some good things. At this point in time in the season, you probably go ahead and go with him because now you're at the point in time where you have 2 games left. And really, I would say the goal from this point on is just to get one more win, finish out 6-6, and then move on into the next season.
Then they're going to start Blake Shapen, if that's the goal.
No, but what I'm saying is finish it out 6-6, play a bowl game, and then go into the next season with Kamario Taylor as more of an experienced quarterback. I think that would be really good.
They're going to stay with Blake Shapen.
Yeah, and I think they could win another game with Blake Shapen. All I'm saying is I'm talking about moving into the future because at this point in time, the best you could be is, I guess, 8-5, including a bowl game, but 7-5 in the season. That's the best you can do. So why not try to create some momentum for next year? That would be my argument at this point. Whereas with Blake Shapen
Yeah.
before, I was thinking you might be able to go 8-4. You know what I mean? 9-3 or something before. But like now it's like, man, you're 7-5 at best, probably 6-6. I feel like you want to create some momentum going into next year.
Yeah, I mean, look, that was just a different class of football teams and programs, right? I mean, that's just Mississippi State to get to that Georgia spot. I don't know how they'll ever do it, but if they ever wanted to or got to the Georgia Bulldogs spot, I mean, that's what it looks like. They walk into places and they just bully you around. I mean, even in games that they're down, they beat Ole Miss. They go 17-0 in a fourth quarter when they had to bear down. I mean, it's just a different class. I mean, and Georgia's defensive line is so good. And Mississippi State's offensive line is so bad. Poor Blake Shapen, I mean, had no time anyways. Even if Blake Shapen was on his A game, it's not like he was going to sit back there and look pretty because it just was, he was never going to have a shot. That's why I liked Kamario Taylor and his ability to run with the battle line probably a little bit better. But you know what? Look, this Missouri game's our last winnable game. I don't think they'll beat Ole Miss in a game where Ole Miss wants to finish off 11-1. I don't see that happening as much as the Egg Bowl has been crazy a lot of years. And sometimes you can throw the record out of the window. I think they got to try to go beat Missouri because Missouri can't really score. However, Missouri's defensive line is just as good as Georgia's. That's their one part of their team that like people absolutely love about Missouri is their defensive line. So that will be really interesting.
Yeah, well, if you're playing a team that has a tough time scoring, I just think that's to Mississippi State's advantage because with the receiver talent that the Bulldogs have, it just seems like you'd be able to find some points. That was the thing I was so impressed by Georgia is that nobody had really been able to do that to Mississippi State this year. Saying all that you can say about Mississippi State, Georgia's the first team that was able to just kind of shut us down. And so I was just kind of, to me, that was concerning. Because what I had seen was a team that had not been completely shut down.
You guys went almost three quarters without scoring a point against Arizona State, or 2.5 quarters.
That is true. I will say that win does.
I mean. By the way, when Texas comes back from 17 points, and they score 24 unanswered.
Well, yeah.
Something happened to the offense too. I mean, like there's been these spurts where their offense, but it goes back to the offensive line and quarterback play.
Well, and those are lulls, but I'm talking about like a game, like a full game. So anyway, we'll see what the Bulldogs can do in the future. Ole Miss hammers the Citadel 49-0. So they're and then we got Jackson State and Valley 42-3. Okay, so Jackson State continues to roll on. And then Alcorn defeating Southern 35-17. Alcorn started off the season looking like this was going to be a horrific season, and they've
winners of 4 of 5. Winners of 4 of 5.
How about that?
Good for them. I'm proud of them.
Congratulations to the Braves, a 35-17 win over Southern. So, folks, that we have reached the end of the Magnolia Shine podcast, episode 28. How about that? 28 episodes, Blake. Well, we've been rolling through them. But, hey, football, listen, we've gone for a while, but football just keeps getting more interesting. Basketball's starting to get into full swing as well. And so we'll be talking about that as soon as football comes to an end. But, folks, we got to do 3 episodes to just cover the football. So that's kind of what we're going to be focused on right now. The one and only Blake Levine. Alongside myself, Trellis Williams. This is the Magnolia Shine Podcast. Hit the subscribe button, like and share with anyone else who'd be interested. Also follow our Facebook page, the Magnolia Shine Podcast. Trellis Williams. We out.